Okay, so what else are we consuming this week? I finished the second season of the show Yellow Jackets. I was talking
Nice.
with Birdie a little bit about this. This show's really good. Anyone who's like looking for a Halloween kind of spooky but not too spooky thing, like highly recommend.
Nice.
It's crazy. There's just like you can't predict what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
And they will off whoever. Like,
Oh, wow. Okay.
yeah,
Nice.
like
Just,
it's kind of like Game of Thrones in that. It's like, but not maybe not quite as dramatic, but like big characters are just
yeah.
getting off left and right. So it's pretty cool. And then it's also got this like whole timey-wimey thing going on because it goes to them in the future, like as adults.
Oh, I love
And then they're
any kind of time
remembering.
jump. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
And then they're
cool.
remembering back to when they were kids. So yeah, it is pretty cool. So just highly recommend that one. Yellow Jackets, watch it. Love is Blind is, I think there's still going to be a finale coming out, but it's pretty much over. Unless I'm forgetting a couple, which I don't think I am. Two couples got married. Both of them said yes at the altar. So kind of like undramatic. No one went to the altar and said no, which is usually the fun part.
Oh, dang. Okay. I'm not watching it.
Yeah, because there was Marissa and Rams ended up being like,
Ramses?
came, yes, he came off as this like super progressive guy initially. And
Yeah.
then I don't know, he just seems like kind of fake progressive at some parts because he was
Ooh,
really
fake woke.
pushy about, yes, he was really pushy about her like being on birth control. And she had good reason to not want to be on birth control. And she's like, we can either use a condom or just like, try to pull out and deal with the consequences if it doesn't work. And he was really weird about that. He doesn't want to use a condom at all. So he's kind of like pressuring her to use birth control. That whole thing was so strange.
Yeah, that is
But
weird.
yeah, he ended up breaking things off with her a couple days before the wedding. A couple days before he had broke things off, like things were great and they were picking out like their first dance song and it just seemed like they were both on the same
Whoa,
page. And then
that's weird.
yeah, and then he went and like talked to like some of his family members and like he mentioned how they had told him, some of his friends and family members, and he mentioned how they had told him how upset his ex-wife was since them splitting. So I don't know how recent that split is like compared to when he came on the show, but I thought that was really weird of him to mention and almost felt like he was like wanting to get back with his ex,
Yeah,
maybe.
that's weird.
Yeah. And then Marissa was kind of like, she was talking to him in a way that some people perceived to be her like begging him to like stay with her, which I didn't perceive it that way. I think she was more just confused and trying to like talk it out with him.
Yeah.
But that like was a thing on the internet. People were like, ew, you shouldn't beg for someone to stay with you, which
How
I
did
think was
things
kind of
play
silly. But
out between Hannah and Nick?
oh, that's the other couple I forgot to mention. Yeah. So Hannah kind of broke things off because she just felt like there was some weird things about Nick. Like he always seemed to say the right things when they were like having conversations on camera, but he
Yeah.
seemed very inexperienced about like being in. He just seemed very naive and inexperienced in a lot of ways. Like he still lived with
Mhm.
his parents, which isn't that's not the worst thing. Like that's just one thing on its
Isn't he the one
own.
in real estate?
Yes, yeah, yeah. I know, right? I think he's like just getting into real estate.
Okay. That
Um,
makes, I mean, either way, I guess, like, even if he's making a lot of money, he could be like trying to save for something specific.
right,
I'm sure there's a ton of good reasons for it. It just seems odd that someone in real estate would be living with their parents.
right.
It's kind of the opposite of what you would think of, but yeah.
Because you have access to homes and
Right.
you have knowledge on what they should be going for and when a good deal comes up. Yeah.
Right.
But I think he is recently into real estate. So
That's fair.
But it also just seems like she's like really supported herself and been on her own since she was in a young age. They just seem like they've had very different walks of life, and she was definitely kind of like a boss bitch and
Yeah.
kind of expected him to be on that level and he wasn't. And then there was also other weird things. He like had this long conversation with Katie, who was one of the girls that he was talking to in the pods too. And I think if Hannah had heard that conversation, she wouldn't have been happy with how it went. It seemed like he was kind of leaving the door open for her.
Interesting.
And then Katie was also supposed to be really good friends with Hannah. So that whole thing is kind of weird.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think I like that.
Nope, don't like it at
Okay.
all. And they both that whole night kept saying how, like, Katie kept saying how attractive Nick was, and Nick kept saying how attractive Katie was too that night. So that whole thing's very strange. And then also Nick mentioned at one point that, or Hannah mentioned that she had to teach Nick how to go down on a girl. So that kind of just shows
I'm surprised. He seemed like
his
that would
level
be
of
the one thing he
inexperience.
would know. Like, I'm not
It
giving
does,
him
right?
too much credit because I feel like
Right.
outside of that, he probably doesn't know a lot. But that was something I just assumed he would know.
Right. I mean, he was like some kind of football player or something. You would think that he had just had, those experiences, but maybe it was one-sided a lot of the time. I don't know,
Wow.
but that's a bad sign. I remember
That's
Alicia
not
even
good.
texted me and she was like, "No way."
That's insane. That's nuts.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think there are just a lot of things that weren't lining up.
Different
And
walks of
Hannah,
life. Yeah.
yeah, and Hannah ended up, I think she was just like, I feel like I really don't know you. Like, I feel like you always say the right thing, but like, I just don't feel like I actually know who
Yeah.
is really under all of that.
Yeah.
So,
And I guess the art guy didn't make it with Brittany. Was that her
Brittany,
name?
yeah, he did not. They actually, it was weird because she accepted his proposal. They like filmed them meeting and then they weren't filmed after that. And then
Interesting.
I guess they split like a few weeks later. But it's weird that they didn't follow their story through those few weeks. So
Yeah,
I
that
don't know.
is weird.
It's especially weird because they followed their story so closely in the pods
Right.
that it's
Yeah.
so in my mind I was like,
Something happened.
maybe did he do something like crazy, or are they being like more cautious now because they've had a lot of like lawsuits and stuff over toxic men, and he did show like a strange side of him when he was yelling at Hannah.
True.
So maybe they were being more cautious. I don't know. But that was strange. Tyler and Ashley did get married, and Tyler's the one who has like the secret children.
And she knew that when
She knew, and he had told her that he just like donated sperm to a same sex couple, and they asked, "Do the kids know what you look like?" And he said no. From what I've seen in my research, he did do that. He did donate sperm to a same sex couple, but he's also been co parenting the children, like with the mom since she split with that woman that she was with.
interesting.
Yeah, and I don't think she knew that at the time that they got married, but we haven't found out if they're still together or not since they got married. The finale comes out this week, and I
Okay,
think we'll get an
interesting.
update.
Okay.
And then Taylor and Garrett did get married, which is the only solid couple out of this
Yeah, I
entire
would
season.
say they seemed pretty strong.
Yeah, really cute. They did have that one rocky spot where like he got a text from his ex or something,
Yeah.
and like he was just kind of, his story changed a time or two. So it was like, what really did happen? But they seem to have worked it out, and yeah, they do seem really cute together. So I
Taylor
hope that
seems like
they're
a
happy.
gem,
Yeah,
like a real gem. So he's
Garrett
very
too.
lucky.
Like
He
he
does. Can't wait for the update on that.
I'm trying to think. Oh, I've also been watching, I think you would like this. Have you seen Catherine the Great?
I don't think so. I've heard of it. I think I might have started it, maybe, but I can't remember. Who's in it?
Oh, like actor wise? I don't know. I'm
Okay.
so bad with famous people. But it's kind of nice because like a lot of period pieces are like really
That's Elle
gruesome.
Fanning.
Oh, the main lady?
Yeah, the blonde.
Is she famous?
Yeah,
Okay.
totally.
Yeah, I think you would like it. And it's not a lot of period, like they do kind of reference like, torture and stuff that comes up in period pieces, but it's
Is it
done
funny?
more in it's done more in a joking way.
Nice.
Which is a weird thing to say, but it's definitely like a little bit more lighthearted than like some of those
Yes.
shows. And I
Did
think
you
it's
ever
like
watch?
loosely
Oh,
true,
okay.
but
I like those
but
normally.
yeah.
Because it's
Yeah.
just like easier to digest. Did you ever watch
Yes.
Rain?
Oh, that's the one I keep thinking of, but it's way less serious and less of. It's still a drama for sure, but it's
It's like
not
a
as
comedy
accurate.
drama. Yeah. No,
I
I
wouldn't
think
even. It's
Rain
got
was
comedy
like
to it. I don't know
interesting.
if I would
Okay, so
call it
it's
a
not.
comedy.
Okay, that's good to know. Because that was kind of thing
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I don't know. Rain, you just like fell in love with all the characters. Like all of the actors are so great. Literally love it.
That is the closest show that I could compare it to is Rain. It's a
Cool.
little bit more lighthearted than Rain.
Yeah, that one
And
does get pretty serious.
and it's not as soap opera-y
Okay.
because Rain does get
Rain
like
is
pretty
pretty
soap
soap
opera-y.
opera-y. Yeah, that's a good
But it
comparison. It is a daytime soap opera. I mean, it was on the CW originally, so
good point.
that
Yeah. But
tracks.
I think it's like slightly more well written and the acting is a little bit better, but it's the same feel where like you do really like the characters.
Nice.
And it's cool to see all the costumes and stuff too, you
I
know.
love that's the best part about watching a period piece, especially because
Mm-hmm.
they always do it. Like in Rain, I watched a bunch of YouTube videos about like the costume design because it did draw from like it was historically accurate in some ways, but it also was just very beautiful. Oh my god, I love the girl who plays Mary Queen of Scots in
Love
that
her
show.
so much. She's so
Adelaide
pretty.
Payne. Yeah, she's
Mm-hmm.
incredible.
Oh, also, I've been watching so much TV. I started American Horror Story, the cult season, which is like the political one. That's just next season I'm on. I think it's like 7 seasons old or something.
Nice.
And it's been good. It's been more spooky than some of the other American Horror Stories have been because it's got like a killer clown home invasion aspect to it. And then it's just kind of weird too that it's political like as we're going through the election. So that's a whole
Interesting.
thing too. But yeah, been
Yeah.
watching that. That's been okay. I mean, I feel like all the American Horror Stories are not that good. Sometimes the seasons start out good, which this one I felt like did, and then they just get so crazy like towards the middle that it's like this is
Yeah.
y'all should have picked one path and followed it, and now we're on 8 paths and it's
Yeah.
too much.
Yeah. That is one that I could never, it's too freaky for
Yeah.
me. Like, and I like weird, but I don't like weird to the point of like, I don't know how to describe it.
It's
It,
freaky for the sake of being freaky, and it doesn't have a great like
yeah.
storyline or like anything really other. It's almost just like grotesque for no reason. Like
Yes. And I just can't get behind that.
it's not very good, I will say. Like the list this week, we have Do You Remember?
Do you remember 21st night of September? No, you can tell them what you were going to say
I
and
was
how
gonna
I
say, do
reacted.
you remember? I was referencing the member berries from South Park. I believe it was South Park like 2020, 2019, somewhere around there. And if you know,
Oh,
you
I'm
know.
still
And that's,
cringing.
she
Sorry.
is. She really hated when I said, do you remember when we were going over the,
Gave me the ick real bad.
yeah.
Real bad.
I
I
thought she
think I
might throw
just,
up.
it's questionable. I mean, I'm still thinking at any moment I could just, and I'll puke in the hat. It's fine. It can be
That's what it's
washed.
for.
That's what the Germans probably created it for.
Mm-hmm.
So they could drink a bunch of beer and then puke and keep
Good old
drinking
puke
beer.
hat.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm not a fan of the Do you remember?
She can't. Okay.
No,
We'll
but
move past
these are
it.
basically throwbacks to our childhood and when we were growing up.
Okay, so on our list of Do You Remember, we have floppy drives. Now this is real. This is like child
Take it, taking it back.
throwback.
I'll never forget when my mom bought me a set of rainbow floppy disks. Like that
Ugh.
was the happiest I had ever been, I think. I like displayed them, like the case. It was like this clear plastic case with all the rainbow colors in it, and I just thought that was the tits.
It kind of is, honestly. That sound of dial up.
Oh yeah, that was intense. Or like getting kicked off of dial up because somebody calls your house.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't be
Yeah.
on the phone and on the computer at the same time.
No, you couldn't.
My computer broke one time because of our floppy drive, and I don't know the
Oh.
details of it. It was broken for like a week. And my dad lived in South Carolina and he worked on computers, but I just like wasn't able to actually get him on the phone for like a week. Finally get him on the phone and I tell him like the error code and on the blue screen that is coming up on our computer. And he's like, "Oh, you just have like I think it was like a locked floppy drive or something." But it was or floppy disk. But he's like, "You just have to pop the floppy disk out of your floppy drive." And we did
And
and the
also, who
computer
came
worked
up
again.
with the term floppy?
Right. They were kind of floppy, but like not super floppy.
Yeah,
They
because
were
they're like hard
soft-ish.
plastic. Yeah.
Buying ringtones, I think, is kind of a funny one because
Yeah. Or recording your own, like with the
yes,
radio or your CD
yeah,
player. And there was always that like feedback that happened when you got the two
yeah,
electronics too close together. Like it just kind of didn't work. And we're still not really sure why, but it just didn't.
mm-mm.
And yeah, no, I very rarely was allowed to buy ringtones, so I had to just record them.
Clever.
Or
I love it.
having music as your voicemail and then like letting it play for a second and then turning it down and being like, "Hey, it's
Oh
Amber,
yeah.
leave me a message." Like
Yeah. Yeah, it's just if my phone made any noise now, I would
I
smash
would
it.
throw it.
Like this
Yeah.
thing better not fucking ring ever.
I don't
I
want to hear noise coming out of it ever unless I turn on the
mm-mm.
noise.
And we used to
Yeah.
pay for that.
Mm. Yeah.
And then the
I
ring
noticed that
back
you also
tones.
put ring back tones, which are equally as amazing. Like it always made me so happy when someone had a ring back tone. Like
Mhm.
I'm gonna call you, but just like don't answer. I'm
Yeah.
just
Now
listening to your ring
this
back.
I almost feel like we should bring this one back.
Oh, for
The ring back
sure.
tones.
There's
Yeah.
already. I mean, there's hold music all the time when you call the doctor's offices. Like, why aren't you playing
Mhm.
like the Yin Yang Twins instead? Like, let's spice this up.
Yeah. No, ringback tones are great. And for those listening who don't know what a ringback tone is, it was when you call someone and they would choose the music that would play on their phone when you call them.
Yeah. So while you're waiting for them to answer, you hear the ring back tone.
Yeah, man, that was a cool one. Past the aux. That's not a thing anymore because everything's Bluetooth. It was really honestly easier to kind of go between different people in the
Way
car who like
easier.
had
Oh my god.
yeah, and you know what? You didn't have to put the car in park to pass the aux.
Mm-mm.
To add a new Bluetooth, you have
It's
to put
true.
that bitch in park. There's only
It's
5
true.
of them that can connect at a time. You got to delete a device to add another one. It's a whole thing.
Yeah, the aux
You used
was
to be
more
able to just
advanced.
mhm.
Yeah, you're right.
Mhm.
You're right. The next one is Disney Channel original movies, and we know that I was raised by Disney Channel original movies at this point, I
Mhm.
think. So that like there was not a better Friday night than going home, having my parents get pizza for dinner or Chinese food, and there's a new Disney Channel original movie coming out.
Yeah.
And I would just sit in my room and watch it on my purple TV and talk to people on AIM. And that was just amazing.
Yeah,
10 out of
I
10.
really loved these as a kid too.
Yeah. Cadet Kelly. Oh,
Oh, that's so good. Yeah.
such a good
Man, I
one.
forgot about that one.
I
Mhm.
know. They just pop in my head all the time. And I'm like, do you remember? But I don't ever ask myself if I remember.
There was the Miracle one with Frankie Muniz. I loved that one. This soapbox one.
Oh, yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. The
That one was a
soapbox
really good one.
derby one. That's so
Yeah, yeah,
specific.
yeah. The next one on the list. Do you remember Lava Lamps?
Now I don't. Now I don't. No, that was peak childhood.
Man,
That and
did you have one?
inflatable. Oh yeah.
Okay, me
Yeah.
too.
I had a couple actually. My room was pretty
Nice.
big, so I think I had one on my bedside table and one on my dresser. So there was a plethora of little lights then too.
I love that.
You
Also,
know, it's my dad's fault. It's my dad's fault that I'm picky about lights because he put dimmer switches in all of our rooms because he was an electrician.
ooh.
So every
Mhm.
single room in our house had a dimmer switch, and it was my favorite thing to turn it on and then turn it to like the dimmest possible setting. So it's like basically off,
Yeah.
but
That
it's
was
on.
pretty advanced for when we were kids too. Like that a lot of people didn't have that at the
Didn't have
time.
that. No,
Mhm.
no. And I remember thinking our house was so fancy because we had dimmer switches, and my
Mm-hmm.
dad installed them himself. So it's pretty
That's so cool.
advanced.
Do you remember waterbeds?
Oh my gosh. My friend had a waterbed and I loved going to her house. It is the weirdest feeling. Do you think anybody out there still has a waterbed?
I don't think they exist anymore.
Email us. If you know somebody with a waterbed, you better send us a damn email.
They're so uncomfortable to sleep on because I had my best friend growing up had one too, and I loved going to her house because it was so fun to like hang out on it.
Yes.
But the few times I actually slept over and like slept on it, I was always like crumpled up and just so sore the next day.
I remember like moving to the floor, like choosing the floor. Like I'm taking my pillow and blanket and I'm out. I'm dipping.
Putting a sheet on those things was something
Oh,
else. And then, oh God, they got so gross under because
yeah.
you can never
Oh,
lift it up. Oh,
yeah. No, that was never a good idea.
mm-mm,
That's funny. That's a good
mm-mm.
one. That's a good one,
Yeah, it just
waterbed.
came back to me. So, story time this week. We figured we'd just kind of blow through our Sabrina Carpenter night.
Yeah. It was a doozy. It was a good one.
It was so much fun. A few too many drinks, anyone would say, I think.
We switched it up too many times. I think if we had stuck to one thing, it probably wouldn't have felt so terrible, but we didn't do that. So we kind of just hopped around, and I will say each thing kind of felt right in the moment.
It did.
So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so we started by getting to our hotel early.
Yeah, so we got to the hotel a little bit early, and it was funny because we called on the way to see if we could check in early.
Forgot about this.
And the woman told us no.
Well,
And then
first
we
of all,
got there.
she did not enunciate a single thing she was saying. So
She
I actually
didn't.
don't know how Tori understood anything this woman said. And it was like, how can I help you? I just... Anyway, she's told us no. And we got there, and it was only 30 minutes before check-in anyway.
Yeah.
We weren't super early. And they just
And
checked
we
us
told
right
her
in.
that too.
Yeah.
She was like, no, we're not doing any early check-in. So we get there and like just had our stuff on a cart. And I was like, well, we're going to ask the guy to hold our cart behind until we could check in. But I was like, well, let's just like play it like we are checking in first and see how that goes. Totally
Checked
fine.
right
But
in.
then there was a woman who walked up at the end of him checking us in. And Amber and I were both like, oh my God, this guy better hurry up. Because we were thinking she was the woman we spoke to on the phone.
Yeah, she definitely was. She didn't seem to be enunciating either.
That checks out.
Yeah.
We started drinking mimosas in the room. And we were getting ready. We got so glittery. We had like body gyms.
Yeah,
I
like
had
the sticky ones.
gymmed up. Yes, the sticky ones. I had gymmed up like my chest area. It was pretty open chest.
Yeah.
My boobies themselves were covered, but I kind of had gyms leading down to them. We had chunky like body glitter, I guess a lotion type thing. I don't know what to call that.
Yeah, more of like an all over situation. My favorite thing was the gem stamper.
Oh God, I forgot about that. Yeah. The hair gem stamper.
Yes, I found this. I saw it on the internet, either Instagram or TikTok in a video. And it was like a mom stamping gems into her kid's hair. And I was like, no, but I need to have that. And I found it and I bought it, and it was incredible. And you just loaded the gems into the thing and just stamped it on your hair. And I think I actually squealed a few times while I was doing it.
No, she absolutely did. Yeah.
Yeah. It was
excitement. Squeals of excitement.
It was so epic. I wish
they were
there
really
was
cool.
More hair gems. We had a great time getting ready. We just like listened to music and had mimosas and got glittery, and practiced walking in our shoes. We were sure we were going to take a tumble at some point, but such is life, and we'll get there. It happens. And it just so happened that there was a sushi restaurant literally across the street from our hotel. So it was almost as if that decision was made for us.
It was funny because we were talking about the whole week we were going to get sushi.
We wanted sushi.
There.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, well, let's see what the closest sushi place it next door.
Yeah, we
It
just
was
jump
outside of
out
our
the
window.
window. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
jump from the windowsill and we'll be there. So that was great. The sushi place, so it was kind of confusing because when we were walking in, it seemed like it was a warehouse. It looked like a
The door that
warehouse.
was open must have been the warehouse of the restaurant or some like their
Yes.
storage.
Their back room or, something. So it was a little confusing and then you open the door and it was actually the cutest little spot.
Yes.
It was very adorable and we didn't have a reservation, so we sat at the bar and they actually placed us kind of like in the corner at the bar, which ended up being awesome because the bartender just kind of stood there the whole time talking to us while she was doing stuff. That was adorable. We loved her. She was super sweet. She gave us great recommendations. I do want to say she told us each that we should get 2 rolls. And we were both like, no, that seems excessive. We're just going to get 1 roll each.
Mm-hmm. And let me specify too, I've only been to sushi places where the rolls are cut up and put on a
Yes.
plate.
Yes.
And that is not what this was. And when I looked at the menu, I automatically knew this isn't the kind of sushi place that I always go to because they
Yes.
didn't have like all the specialty rolls and stuff.
Right. I knew it was
But
going to be different,
the
but you're right.
edamame was so good.
We did get chili garlic edamame that were really delicious. That's not a cute thing to eat. Like that's not you don't eat that on a date.
No.
So it was really good. So we order our sushi and I'm very excited because it's spicy tuna and that is my absolute favorite when it comes to sushi.
So
Like
good.
fuck me up with spicy tuna.
Mm-hmm.
And we get them and they're on this little stand and it's a cone. So it's actually like, I think it's referred to a hand roll because you're just supposed to
Yeah,
hold it in your hand and eat it.
that makes more sense now. I remember
Mm-hmm.
reading hand roll on the menu. I'm like, I don't know what that
You
is, but
pick
here we go.
it up with your hand. So I don't know, man. And so they actually sat it down in front of us and we were like, no, not ours.
That's not what we ordered.
And the bartender's like, no, that's what you got. They just need to bring out the other one. Like there's only one ready. And so we're both looking at each other like super confused and just looking because it's like, the outside is seaweed and everything else is inside. Looks like an ice cream cone situation.
Yeah,
And,
it's a great way to describe it.
so I panic and I'm like, I have to Google how do I eat this? So I do. I start Googling how do I eat this?
I am really panicking because this thing has been placed in front of me.
Yeah.
Amber has a little bit of wiggle room with time. Hers has not been placed in front of her yet. And I'm looking at her and I'm like,
out loud say, I'll wait until you get yours to eat this. She said it loud enough.
By time.
Loud enough that the bartenders could hear us. Okay, like everyone around. She's waiting for me. She's being polite. So we're both panicked and I start Googling. Well, of course, as I'm Googling, my roll comes up behind me with this man and he places it down as I'm Googling. And my screen, the text is as big as it can possibly be because I'm blind. Okay, so it's like, I know he saw it.
I just see Amber panic swipe up to close her screen.
I closed it so fast. I was so embarrassed. I was so embarrassed. Like, I've never been to like a really... Actually, no, I have been to a fancy sushi place, but I didn't get that.
No, I've been to quite a few fancy sushi places. I've never had this kind of experience. I've never even seen a hand roll on a menu, I don't think.
I will say, though, it was incredible. I could have eaten 13 of them if they weren't $15 a piece for one piece of sushi. And so she was like, do you guys want to, get another one? And we're like, no, we'll have another glass of wine, though, which is also $15.
I will say, though, Amber, so before we actually bit into it, yours got placed down in front of you. And both of us are just giggling at each other at this point because we've already tried Googling and that didn't work. We couldn't pull the Google back up at this point. And we're just laughing at each other, kind of looking at it like neither of us are approaching it. And we're laughing a lot. And the bartender finally comes up and she's like, we do recommend eating these like pretty quickly. And I forget why.
It gets like soggy if you don't. Like the seaweed and
that's
stuff
what she
gets
said.
soggy.
Yeah. And I was like, "Oh, okay." And I was like, so I had to come clean at this point. I was like, "I have only ever seen sushi where it's cut up on a plate in front of me." I was
Yeah,
like,
this is new. This
"How
is
do
on a
I do this? How
stand.
do I do this?"
Yeah.
And she apparently just eat it like a taco.
Yeah, you just pick it up
And
and
then
go for it.
and then my question was, do you start at the bottom?
She was like, no, then everything would fall out. I think she knew that we were just used to eating like a spicy gordita crunch and that's
Yeah.
it. And she was like,
Hmm. And we'll get to that part.
we'll get to that as well because more on that later. So we had a great time at dinner and we
Hmm.
Ubered over to the venue, which was super close by. The Uber driver did not talk to us, which actually
Not a
I was
word.
glad. I was not in the
So
mood to talk to this man. So
relieved. Yeah.
yeah, very relieved. And we get to Sabrina and I mean, even in the car ride over, we start noticing the people walking to the concert and it was just like immediate excitement, like just pointing out all the outfits that we liked and so many
Hmm.
people recreated some of her like stage looks and stuff and
Hmm.
just so many cute outfits and the girls
There
were
were so
girling
many baby dolls.
a
Yes.
lot of
Yeah.
baby dolls, a lot of go-go boots. We actually ran into people outside of our hotel and they were like, "Oh my god, you look great. Are you going to Sabrina Carpenter?" Like the go-go boots gave it away.
Yeah.
Like it
Yeah.
was super cute. We had a really great time just looking at everyone, honestly.
Yeah. That was probably my favorite part of the night, is just seeing
Oh,
everyone's
totally.
outfits.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. It was a great experience. And she had a really great opener named Griff, who seemed to really get the crowd going and ready.
Hmm.
And then,
Loved her
so,
accent.
yes, she was so cute. She was so cute.
Hmm. I wonder
Um,
how old she is. She looks young.
she did look pretty young, but
Hmm.
she did a great job and she put on a really great
Hmm.
show. And Sabrina came out and everybody just lost their shit. Like she's such a presence on the stage. She's so entertaining. Yeah, I loved it. It was so cool. The heart-shaped stage going up in the air is so epic.
Hmm.
And the fact that she stands up on that and dances.
I was thinking that, yeah, while it's going up. Like,
Yeah.
put a
Yeah.
seatbelt on me, please.
Mhm.
And it went
Yeah.
high.
It goes pretty high up.
And there's another
Uh
part where it kind of sinks down and they all sit around it, which is cool.
Yeah, it's like it looks like a 70s living room how they used to be like
Yeah.
sunken in like that. The
Hmm.
dream. I would love a living room like that. Are you kidding me?
Yes.
Sign me
And then I
up.
guess the whole stage is like penis shaped too, which I didn't realize until Alicia actually mentioned something about.
That's hilarious. I didn't
Yeah.
realize that either.
Yeah.
The whole thing is very well branded. I've got to give it up to her team.
Hmm.
Between the outfits and the info things, like the
The little,
commercials that play
yeah.
throughout while she's doing costume changes and stuff, it's just so her and very retro, but it
Hmm.
still feels so new. It's like it's a
It's
fresh take
too,
on it.
yeah, it's too, like, women couldn't be like that back in the
Yeah,
day. So like
yeah,
it's a very like modern take on like a
that's
retro
true.
vibe, I
That's
feel
so
like.
true. Yeah,
Which is cool. It makes it way more relatable. But
yeah.
you still get the aestheticness of the retro stuff, which is very pleasing.
Yeah. And so the concert is kind of where things went left because we decided to have mixed drinks. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't drink mixed drinks ever. First of
So
all, I
let's
don't
just
drink much anyway, but it definitely
mm-hmm.
not drink and lift.
So just to recap, we had mimosas at the hotel, went to the sushi place, and had wine at the sushi place. And now we've gotten to the venue, and we just assumed that the wine would be bad there. So
It
we
was
moved
bad
on
wine. I
to
didn't assume, I
mixed
knew.
drinks.
It was
Oh,
barefoot
you did?
wine. That shit's terrible.
Oh, hell no. Yeah.
Yeah. That'll give you a headache while you're drinking it.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah. So that was a
So,
good choice.
and the beer choices, it was the same, like Coors Light,
Mm-hmm.
PBR, your standard shitty beer. And so we both just were like, no, that ain't it. And they had mixed drinks. So, we just went for that. I had a margarita. It was delicious. It was not a good idea, but
Mm-mm.
I did it. So there's that. No, but we had a great time. We danced. We pretty much stood up the whole time and just like danced around, and it was the vibes were great. Being in a place
Mm-hmm.
like that when you're surrounded by mostly women, it was really fun experience.
Yeah. The up and down of the stairs is the only thing I didn't love.
That was
And
scary. I was afraid.
it may have been the 8 inches of platform under my heel.
Yeah.
But
I felt for Tori. I just thought how brave she was walking around on those platforms. Like I had a little tiny wedge. It was respectable.
Mhm.
But Tori's were fit the theme. Like she said Sabrina Carpenter were wearing chunky high go-go boots.
Yeah, like the
Period.
bottom part of my foot was probably what 4 or 5 inches off the ground, and then like the heel was another like 3 or 4 inches, I
Yeah,
think.
really, really tall. Like Tori
Thank God
was
it was
looming
chunky,
over me. Yeah.
which is so strange.
Yeah, that was a weird feeling. But I am really glad. I was almost last minute. I almost changed my mind and wore boots instead of platforms. And I'm really glad I didn't do that. Even though I will say by the end of the night, I was so fucking ready to take my shoes off, but they were pretty comfortable. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
gonna lie.
My
Like at the concert, my feet weren't really bothering me. I was
mm-mm.
nervous on them going up and down the stairs, but I think no matter what shoes I was wearing, those stairs are scary. And it's like
Yeah.
pretty. They had the lights on even when we got there. Like we made really good time and got there before the show started, but it was pretty dark. Yeah, that part of it wasn't fun.
The stairs. It's like classic hockey stadium. Like those stairs are just so steep. I hate
Mm-hmm.
it. So after Sabrina, we were on a roll at this point.
Having a great
Um,
time, feeling
filled to the
great.
brim with alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
And we were like, let's go hang out at a bar. And we went to
And it
this
was
bar
pretty
that,
early. It was only like 10 o'clock at that point.
yeah.
The show,
Mm-hmm.
I think she came on around 8:30 and her performance was about an hour and a half. So it
Yeah.
was still pretty early.
So we went to this bar that I've been to before, and I like it a lot for live music, but a totally different like genre of music for sure. It's more like jam bandy or like funk type
Hmm.
music. So we pretty much went to a second concert.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it was great.
And yeah, it was
It was
cool.
a
It was
really
cool to
cool
see
little
that.
spot.
And it's kind of like an underground bar, which is cool. And
Hmm.
then like even going to the bathroom is kind of cool because you like
Go up
take these
these
little like
hallways. Yeah, it feels like you're in the Harry Potter like cupboard. You're like, where am I going? This
or in
staircase like
like
winds up the hall, like the
yes.
women's room. You had to like go up this like kind of turny hallway
Mm-hmm.
to get
And you
into
see a
it.
lot of that stuff in like London and New York, but you
Yeah.
don't get that kind of stuff here in Florida. So it was kind of cool. I like that about that bar. We played the longest game of darts that I think has ever existed on this planet,
It was three
because we
hours long.
played cricket and and apparently we ended up giving up. We
Yeah.
were pretty close to the end of the game, but who knows how long it would have taken us to get those last few. Amber
Yeah.
was winning. You had
Yeah.
gotten more than me.
I am pretty good at darts.
Yeah,
Like,
I have
I'm
to
always
say.
impressed with myself, honestly.
I was impressed for sure.
That's great.
And then we hung out, we drank some more.
We had beer. We
Um,
switched to beer because
yes, at
that's
this
what
point we're on
locals.
beer.
Because at each place, it's like, okay, we're just getting what's available to us.
The
What
beer was
looks
the
good.
vibe.
Yeah.
This is like a dive bar type feeling of
You're not
place.
going to
Like you're
order
not
wine
drinking a
there,
wine.
especially not after you
Mm-mm.
just had a margarita. And I'm not ordering
No,
another margarita
no.
because I know better than that.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, so beer was the vibe. The bartender was hot. I think he liked me, and I
well,
think I
and
kind of fucked up.
it was hard. I know I was kind of pissed off at you for not just being like, here is my phone number.
Shoot,
I
maybe I should
almost
have.
gave
Well, we'll
it.
have to go back.
We can go back now that we know. The
Okay.
live music was cool. I gotta say, I think I spent probably 85% of the time while we were watching the live music judging the lead guitarist for having a cigarette in his mouth the whole time. It was impressive. I'm like, both of his hands are on his guitar and he is still smoking that cigarette. Like that I have never seen before. So giving it up to him, that was
I wonder.
truly impressive.
I wonder if that's the only place he can play. Because how many places like let you smoke inside anymore.
Well, that
You
was
know,
the
he's
thing that
like,
we
this
did
is the only
say.
gig we can book.
Yeah, like how many places are you even able to smoke a cigarette indoors anymore anyway?
Right.
No, but the music was really cool, and they had people, like random people were coming up and singing songs too. So it was
Mm-hmm.
a cool vibe for sure.
Amber and I were talking shit, like kind of on the sidelines, pretty close to the drummer a lot of the time. And the drummer kept looking at us after we'd like say something. And I'm like, can he hear us? I couldn't.
I think he
How
could.
loud were we talking? Because he did keep looking over at us.
I don't
But
know. I don't think we were talking
he's
that loud.
bashing on this instrument like pretty hard. And that's one of the louder instruments, the drums. So
Yeah.
I'm like, could he or couldn't he? I couldn't tell, but he did keep looking at us every time we
We were
talk
in
shit
this
about like
little
the
grotto, so it
guitars.
was like maybe everything was like echoed really loud. Like it could have been louder
Maybe.
than we
Yeah.
thought. I don't know. But he did
We were
seem like
also
he was,
drunk, so maybe we thought we were like whispering to each other.
and we're just screaming,
Like,
these guys suck. Can you believe it? Like, just
I think it was
totally.
mostly you talking shit about the drummer or the
The
guitarist.
guitarist. And
So,
I'm sorry, I was just saying what everyone else in the room was thinking.
and he
Uh,
was laughing every time. So I think he was supportive of whatever we were saying.
that's good. I'm glad because I was gonna say it one way or another.
Right.
That's
Which
fine.
is fair. Yeah.
So we had a great time. We stayed out way too late. We Ubered back to the hotel. And that was another, that guy didn't say, like, he didn't even, the one guy at least like acknowledged us, I think, when we got in the vehicle. This guy didn't say a damn word.
I will say the second Uber is very blurry to me, memory wise, but the only thing I remember is that I did double check the license plate.
Oh, yeah. You were like not fucking around. You were like, we're not tonight. Not tonight. Staying
Mm-mm.
vigilant. Staying vigilant.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that, yeah, we were still with it enough to be safe.
Even in that state. Yeah.
Yeah. So we get back to the hotel, and the first sliding door opens for us, but the second does not. And we're like, it's dark. The lobby is like, there's nobody around. It's very late. And so Tori looks over and she's like, oh, we just have to scan our room key or whatever to get in. I simply could not. I tried. I'm standing there. We were standing there giggling. Oh, I forgot maybe the best part of this. We were worried that we would fall, and we made it through the whole concert. We made it through darts. We made it through the little grottos in this underground bar without falling. And we get to the door, and Tori, I don't even know how. I think she just kind of tripped over. It was probably like a tiny little pebble on the ground, and she tripped, and she just like, she went down so slow. It was in slow mo for sure. And like, I know we had been drinking, so that's probably what was really what was happening. It was just the alcohol. But she was just like, no. Just like slowly went down. And she recovered well. Now, I will say there was nobody outside. You know, there's cameras everywhere at hotels, so I'm sure somebody saw. And so
I
we're
hope
trying to
so.
scan. We're trying to scan to get into the building, and these two men, they looked concerned. Like come over and opened the door for us, and I think I
Were they
just said,
employees?
"Yeah."
Okay.
They
I think
I
that's a
assume
little
they
blurry to me.
were like the people working the front desk and noticed that there were two drunk people who couldn't get in the building, and which is like so strange. Like I, on one hand, it made me feel better that like the lobby's not just open for anybody to
Mm-hmm.
walk in the middle of the night, but it also was just like, for fuck's sake, how hard is it to get into this building? And I
Interesting.
sassed them. I sassed them when they did come to the door. I can't remember. They said something. I'm not sure what they said exactly, but they just had like judgment all over their face. And I was just like, cool, thanks. And just walked to the elevator.
Man, that's all a little bit blurry to me. I do remember them like coming up and that they were employees, but and then interesting because we did order Taco Bell. And before the Taco Bell arrived, Amber had just kind of zonked out. She was
Yeah.
done with the night. And that was fair. It was like 3 a.m.
It was late.
I was just trying to get something in my stomach because I knew the next day wasn't going to be pleasant. And we had only gotten the one handful.
and the edamame. But yeah, it's a big fucking bowl of edamame, but still.
We didn't even finish it. Yeah.
We didn't.
So I went back down though to meet the Taco Bell guy, and I had to go back through that door and no problems that time. And I had just scanned my card to get back in. So
I think I had it upside down. I'm pretty sure.
I don't even usually you can just do it like through your wallet. So like maybe your key was just like not active. Sometimes that happens, especially if you have it like actually I forgot about that. If you have it near your phone like deactivates it, and you had it in the back of your phone.
Yeah, I had it in the back of my phone. That's so funny.
That might be it. That might be it.
I'm like, what is happening? Thank God we got in the building. That's so funny.
I will say it was kind of funny too. I sent a Snapchat to our girl gang group the day before the trip when I was packing, and I asked them what's the over under that I end up falling at some point because I had the boots on in the picture. And Destin, our one of our girlfriends, replied and said, "Well, I've seen you fall barefoot, so
pretty high chances."
Yeah, and then Shoshana replied, and she's like, probably 60-40.
Yeah. That was generous, I think.
I think it was. She was being nice, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
So actually, I haven't reported back to them that there was a fall, so we will have to let them know. And the fall, too, from my perspective, it felt like my legs just kind of, like those dolls where you hit the button under it and they just kind of crumple down. They're like attached through string. That's kind of what it felt like. Like I think it was just a pebble, or like I rolled my ankle a little bit or something, and the balance was off, and I just crumpled from the bottom up.
Just no longer can stand.
When I did go out to get my Taco Bell, I didn't realize that Amber, before zonking out, again, we were really on our safety shit that night, even though we were not in the right state of mind. Amber had set up the ironing board.
Oh, yeah, I blocked the door with it.
Under like the doorknob, because we were talking earlier in the day how those like swing locks aren't super safe as like a backup, and yeah, I was very proud of you. I didn't know how to get out of there because I wasn't sure how to like fold up and close.
I barricaded us in there. Yeah. I also didn't know how to fold it up. We left it open in the corner.
So I ended up just like scooting it out of the way, going down, getting the Taco Bell, coming back up, and then like I was also having trouble like re-establishing it, but I did figure it out.
Yeah,
and that was just like a little bit of the night that you missed. Yeah,
the next day we felt like shit, so it was unpleasant, and we kind of just bitched for a good 30 minutes and took some Advil and wrangled ourselves and packed up all of our shit and left. And neither of us wanted to be in the vehicle. It was the last thing we wanted to do was drive home. But we're like, let's just do it. Let's just get home and we can rest the rest of the day. So at some point we were like, okay, we need to put food in our stomach. We need to eat. And we're like, oh, but nothing sounds good. And then Tori passes one of those signs that tells you like what food there is. And she says like, oh, we could go to Arby's. I'm like, actually, Arby's sounds great. It's 10 a.m. It's 10 a.m. and we're going to Arby's. We're going to get the meat.
We had to Google if they're even open yet.
Yeah. And then we were like, it's 24 hours. We found out it was 24 hours, which is like so funny. So we get to the Arby's. It had the weirdest parking lot of all time. And the drive-through was kind of just a maze that you had to maneuver if you wanted to, actually order your food. And so Tori, we
weren't getting out of the car.
We were not. Tori, like a champ, navigates it. We get there, we order. She gets a beef and cheese. I'm like, get me the chicken tenders and a Coca-Cola, like stat. And we get our food. We park in the parking lot and we start to eat. And she's like, shit, they didn't give me Arby's sauce.
And
So
can I
we
just say, she offered me many things. She
she did.
while we're ordering, and my head's a little foggy. She's like asking me all these. She's like, "Do you want a cheese cup for your fries?" What? No, I don't want a cheese cup for my. I didn't. I was so confused with what she was even asking me at that point.
Yeah, she's like
But yeah,
medium or large, this or that. What do you want to drink? There's too many questions. Okay,
too many.
just throw
The
something
cheese
to me.
the cheese cup for the fries was one too many questions.
Yeah,
I thought I
that's
was
what
done
did
at
it.
that point.
That's
I
what did
thought I
it.
was done. Anyways, the one question she didn't ask is the most important question when you go to Arby's. Would you like Arby's sauce? You either just include it in the bag and don't ask, or you ask. And we didn't get asked that. Okay, so sorry.
So
That's all I
we
had to.
bopped around. We made a Yui, and we get back up to the ordering area, and she's like, "Hey, we were just in the drive-through. I just need to get some Arby's sauce." And the lady's like so apologetic, like knows that she messed up. And we get up there, and she's like, her hand's already out the window with the Arby's sauce. She's had enough of ours because we did pull up to the window like cackling. We were laughing so hard about her asking if you wanted the cheese cup. I was absolutely losing it. I was so delirious. We only got about 5 hours of sleep, if that.
Mm-hmm.
It was a mess.
And when she asked, there was a moment of silence because like my brain is trying to work out what she. I'm like, is she talking about a cup to catch the cheese from my beef and cheddar? Like, what the hell is she asking? Not the right state of mind. I was a little foggy.
No. But we had a great time. The concert was a blast, and once the hangover wore off, we had fond memories of the night.
I will say the hangover was not as bad. I woke up feeling so bad, and the Advil really knocked it out of the way.
Advil and
Like,
the
I'm so
food.
glad. Yeah, I'm so glad we took the Advil like right when we woke up, because like 30 minutes later, I was like, wait, this is tolerable. And I was definitely like really drowsy. I'm still a little drowsy, I think, but I didn't feel like I wanted to puke, which is how I woke up. Really good time.
Yeah.
10 out of
That's
10
great.
would do again. I probably would have a few less drinks if I did do it again, but would do again.
For sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay, so for Who's the Better Friend this week, we have Halloween movies, favorite Halloween movies, and you are up to ask first, or to guess first.
Okay, cool. Okay, so first for you, I put Harry Potter.
I don't know why I didn't think of that as a...
If you didn't pick a Harry Potter movie as... Ew, Tori? That didn't make the list at all? Yeah.
I don't know why.
What other time of year do you watch Harry Potter if not the fall? It's the perfect time.
No, you're right. Yeah, I kind of flubbed up on that.
Wow. Okay, I'm not...
Actually, I don't really ever watch... If I'm being honest, I never watched the movies. But okay, we'll move past that.
Whoa. I'll try. Okay, so next I put The Nightmare Before Christmas.
I had a feeling you would put that for me, and it's not.
I don't think I know you.
Yeah, I actually don't like that movie very much, which I know is very unpopular. Yeah, I don't hate it. I just don't. I never really understood.
That's a classic. I'm
sorry.
Disgusted. Okay, I don't feel good about the last guess. Casper.
2 points.
No shit. You don't like The Nightmare Before Christmas, but Casper.
Casper is so wholesome. Yeah.
It is. And then we're talking about the good one, right? Like
the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I will say I added a fourth on here, and I decided if you can guess my fourth, I will give you 2 points.
Is it Doctor Who?
No. Okay. Escape from Witch Mountain.
Oh, okay. Okay. So what was the full list in order?
So number 1, Beetlejuice.
I almost put Beetlejuice.
Number 2, Halloween Town.
Nice. I didn't know if you were a big Halloween Town gal. I feel like I should have known that.
I am proud of you for not putting Hocus Pocus for me.
I knew Hocus Pocus was a no. I knew that one was a definite no. Yeah.
That really honestly shows how good of a friend you are.
That I knew which one it was not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if we're being honest. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so 2 points for Amber. I will say
Nice.
I'm not feeling great about mine. My guess is for you.
Okay. I think
But
there's one that you'll get.
you guessing first helped me a
I'm
little
sure
bit,
it
and
did.
I have changed my answers a
I'm
little.
sure you did. I see you with your pen. I know what you're doing. You little
So
cheater.
number 1, I put Harry Potter.
Um, it is in first place. I have 2 movies that are tied for first place. So technically there are 4 movies on my list. So if you can guess it, then
Wow, we
you'll
both
get
did 4.
double points. Yeah. I couldn't choose
Okay.
my first one.
Okay. So I don't know to call it number 2 or not now.
Number
I feel
1B.
like number 1B, I feel like for you is going to be Hocus Pocus.
No, Hocus Pocus isn't in my top. I do love Hocus Pocus, but there's a
Okay.
lot of good Halloween movies.
I was struggling to even think of any. Okay, so Hocus Pocus isn't there. Number 2, Nightmare Before Christmas.
It's also not on my top list, but I do love it.
Okay. Number 3, Halloween Town.
Halloween Town's on the list, but not in
Okay.
that spot.
All right. Well,
Okay, so number
3
one,
points for me.
the two things that were tied were Halloween Town and Harry Potter.
Okay.
Number 2 is Practical Magic.
I knew there was some other. I was Googling Halloween movies. That didn't come
Yeah.
up. Okay.
It's not like as popular of one, but I feel like in recent years people are starting to really love it. Yeah, I love Practical Magic. It's epic. You would love it if you
I
watched.
should
Have you
rewatch
seen
that
it?
one.
Okay, you have
It's
seen it.
been so long. Yeah. I don't remember anything of it though. I should rewatch it.
It's really good, and honestly, it'd be really fun to watch as like a girls' night because part of the
Yeah.
like one thing that they do in Practical Magic is like they have midnight margaritas, like all the women, because it's
Ooh.
all like the whole family is it's just women. Okay, so yeah, so Practical Magic is my second favorite. My third favorite is Sleepy Hollow.
Oh, good one. Okay.
I love that one. It's like just the right level of like spooky. Um, yeah, love Sleepy Hollow.
This was a close night. Okay, so Amber had 2 points and I had 3, so
Yeah,
we're cutting it close.
Tori is the better friend.
And it's kind of funny. We both went rogue and put 4
I know
movies.
that is funny.
Yeah.
I was like with Halloween Town and Harry Potter. I was like, I don't feel like I could put either of them second. And we almost always rewatch Harry Potter this time of year, like all of them. So that's the majority of the family Halloween. And like Halloween Town and Hocus Pocus are always, and Nightmare Before Christmas are the main ones that we watch as a family.
I get really pissy with Harry Potter after the second movie, which is why I kind of like boycott them because it goes so far off from the books that it's literally inaccurate. And it's inaccurate in so many different ways. Like, not only is the storyline and the plot not like it leaves so much out, but also the way that they start wearing just like muggle clothes to school.
True.
They don't do that. That
Oh,
really
that's such a good
upsets
point.
me.
I never really thought about. And I think it's just because I don't remember the books well. Like I read them as a kid, but I've never reread them. So I really don't remember how the story happens. Oh my god, such a good point.
Yeah, it really upsets me the way that they would get made fun of for wearing muggle clothes to school. Are you kidding me? And then why does the werewolf look like that?
That's fair. Those are all really fair points.
So yeah, I get a little pissy after.
Oh, I love the Goblet
1
of Fire.
and 2 are really good.
I love the Goblet of Fire. I think that one's my favorite of the movies.
That one is good. Yeah, I did like that one.
Harry, did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire?
And then I get upset because Dumbledore changes too, and the first one was so good, and the second one was still good.
Let me ask you this: is Dumbledore still a monster in the books?
Excuse me?
Dumbledore is a monster. He sets Harry up. He knows that Harry is going to have to die in order to kill Voldemort.
Oh, yeah, no, I think so.
So he's kind of the ultimate villain. Like, yes, we love him, but also like,
yeah, I'd have to reread them to like really remember that. But I feel
That's
like
fair.
it was more intricate than how it came off in the movies.
Yeah,
like there were more complex feelings than just like is he good or bad?
All right, so tune in next week. We're going to talk about what 3 alternative career paths we would have taken if we weren't in the fields that we're in now. Sweet. Thanks
That'll be
for
fun.
listening to our shenanigans as per usual. And if you're not already, follow us on Instagram at Out of Touch PCast, follow us on TikTok at Out of Touch Moments, and send us an email at outoftouchcast@gmail.com.
Boom.
Bye.